Hi everyone, LazyFire here. Welcome back to Battlefield 4. This video is actually interesting on a few different levels. First off, this was right after a big update to the way netcode and tick rate and send and receive from servers and everything works. So there are a few changes that are kind of interesting there. Basically, I've been able to set my network update frequency to high, and I've set my network smoothing factor to 0, which means I should be getting very quick updates, and I should be getting very accurate reports of where the other players that I'm interacting with and shooting at are within a 100 to 200 meter bubble of me. Now that's kind of weird because I've heard 200 meters as the standard, and then other people have been insisting it's 100 meters, but then they're saying, well, it's 100 meters for vehicles and 200 meters for people on foot. I don't know. Anyways, obviously these doors are tracking correctly because I couldn't get through them for the life of me. And because of the update there, you would think that a lot of the issues with connections and things like shotguns that really rely on decent connections are going to be gone. That's not quite the case, and we'll explain that in a minute. The thing about the network connection updates that is kind of important to note is that DICE put a side-by-side together. Two people with 50 millisecond ping to a server, and they shot at each other and jumped and everything to see what the difference between what the person sending the data sees and what the person who receives the data sees, right? So, I'm shooting Sean Face or something like that, let's say one of the guys in front of me. If I fire on him, it's going to take about 8 seconds between, or sorry, not 8 seconds, 8 frames. Wow, that'd be really bad. But 8 frames between when I hit the fire button and when he sees a report of me firing. Okay, or the same thing with jumping, same way. So the animation difference is only going to be about 8 frames, which is very negligible when you're playing on 60 frames or even 30 frames per second. So it's a much better connection system. It's going to be a lot better for shooting people, and I feel like it is a lot better in a lot of regards. You end up dying a lot more because you don't have that kind of lag shield going for you in a lot of cases if you have all your updates set to be high and your network frequency to be high. And right there, that was my favorite kill ever involving the incendiaries. I only carry them on this map so I can do stuff like that and block tunnel access and everything if the enemy's having a time at us. Anyways, the big thing that kind of comes up with it, though, is that if you have a good ping, like I did with this thing, I think I was rocking about between 50 and 75 ping to the server. If you have a good ping, that's one thing. If somebody else has a bad ping and they have their network update set to low and their network smoothing factor like 50%, well, you're not going to be able to do a ton against them all the time, and that's kind of where the other team comes into play. The other team is made up primarily of people playing in Brazil. Now you'd think, well, what the hell, are you on a Brazilian server? No, but neither are they, for a very good reason. Brazilian servers tend to be in Canada with EA games. Like, that's where their server farm is for them. It's in Toronto, actually. This is according to another goon who is in the game. I blame him for any incorrect information, but he's been spot on a lot of other stuff. So, that's kind of bad. That's not good. So they're better off connecting to US servers, and I actually heard this, I read it on Reddit as well. They're actually better off connecting to US servers because they end up with the same speed no matter what. And the US servers are going to be a bit more stable. This is me being stupid. I should have looked around a bit. So what that means for me and the other people on my team is that these guys basically all night were running around with things like DMRs and sniper rifles, and were able to one-shot us or hit us with really great accuracy from really large distances. Just didn't make any sense to us. We're watching this happen, going, that doesn't. I watched the vapor trail go past me. How'd that hurt me? And you'll see it in this video where I'll hit somebody full on with a shotgun blast, and they'll just keep on trucking. So yeah, there's some issues because of the high ping and everything like that. I mean, when you're running 170 ping versus someone with 50 ping, and you've got your different network settings and everything, there's going to be some jank. And I'm sure there were things on their end that they thought were complete bullshit. And I honestly can't blame them for wanting to play on a server with a little bit better ping than what they have in their quote-unquote home country servers. So, yeah, I don't blame them for being there, but I don't really like the fact that they stuck around like they did. All we wanted to do was have fun, and these guys seem to be up for the challenge. Now, like I said, they were using a lot of DMRs and sniper rifles. They had lost so handily in the last few matches. I'm talking obliteration rounds where they touched the bomb twice total between the team, or rounds of capture the flag where they would be able to camp us in our spawns, but we would actually just go and grab the flag a couple times and win. And this was actually kind of something we should have picked up on that they were doing. They were dropping motion sensors in really interesting areas. Or not motion sensors, but the motion sensors and spawn beacons in really interesting areas. And because of that, they were able to get behind us on almost every single map. And you'd have to go and hunt these things down. Right here, I am just protecting what is potentially ours. Look at the way the map is right now. We're about even with them, but they're going to be just rushing D, rushing E, and on A. A is going to be like this point that they just constantly rush throughout the map. Now keep in mind, A is on the other side of the map from their spawn point. We're going to hold C for a good amount of time. We are going to lose it eventually, even upcoming now actually. And we're going to be able to pull it back. Right here, that guy probably should have been hit a couple times. If I don't aim down sights with this thing, I can't really tell where the spread's going to go. I'm sure that I actually missed a lot of those shots no matter what. I'm just trying to get used to the movement and how that works with where you have to shoot. Ah, you hear that sound? Probably not because I was talking. Watch the kill feed for this guy. This guy I kill up here, the XXX AS Monday SSX, or XXX. Down he goes. Now keep watching the kill feed, by the way. This is kind of important. This is kind of funny, too. He's not going to appear again, but right about now, right there, two of the guys on their team, there's just a team kill on their team with a medic bag. One of those weird things that Battlefield actually has in it, it's the physics or something like that, cause the medic bags to do harm to people who are being revived sometimes, even if you're the one that throws the medic bag to your own teammate. That guy probably should have been hit a couple times. Anyways, another Battlefield thing that you may or may not have noticed that's going on right now is my squad. If you're not in the know, Battlefield 4 should have 5-man squads. We're rocking 6. Yeah. I think the other day there was someone with 8, but I could be completely wrong on how many members are supposed to be in a squad. I always thought it was 5. Anyways, you can see there I just took a one-shot kill from this guy, and you get a quick peek at the numbers. You'll get a longer and more extended one there. But the guy ran back outside. We go into B here to try to cap it. Look at this guy, just dancing through the bullets. It's impressive. There's a point later in this video, I think, or a different video I recorded that night, where I pretty much do the exact same thing, so I don't feel too bad. I believe that was the exact same guy who I just killed before. And down I go. These guys are really everywhere. I don't know how they do it. I don't understand where they were coming from. We had a guy flying a MAV around towards the end of the match, and we're asking him to go find their spawn beacon. It's got to be somewhere near A, because they're always on A, they're always on B. We can't clear them off of there completely. And even after we find the spawn beacon, they set it up again. There's a goon on the other team too, and he actually goes on a bit of a spy mission to try to find this thing. And it turns out the guys on the other team were actually putting this spawn beacon inside a glitch spot, so you wouldn't actually be able to see it even if you knew exactly where it was. The MAV could see it on the mini-map and on the radar or with a little tag over it, but he couldn't touch it. So we had to have someone go down there and shoot into the wall to something they couldn't see to try to kill it, and so they wouldn't be able to spawn behind us anymore. Sometimes I'm just bad with the shotgun. I missed all those shots fairly. And I'll actually be switching my ammo type eventually on the shotgun over to the flechette rounds, these little darts you can fire out of the shotgun. Those are amazing. I really like those. It was more because the spread on the flechettes is supposed to be a little bit tighter when you aim down sights with it. Right here I'm just trying to pick up some of my motion sensors again. And because of that, there we go, I feel like it's a bit better for this sort of situation where the buckshot spread is not going to be great, and Locker is, oddly enough, a kind of long map. And I know, you don't think about that too much, But the thing that Operation Locker and Operation Metro have in common in terms of map design is that they both are smaller maps, but they're highlighted by corridors on either side and down the center that are actually pretty long. And because of those corridors, you kind of want to use a shotgun, but at the same time, you're going to be worried that it's not going to be enough of a distance weapon in certain situations. Now, if you play the map smart and you stick to the edges and all this other stuff, it's very easy to really run a shotgun on these maps. So, no reason not to at that point. But yes, you do have to be a little bit smart about when and where you pull this thing out. Having the Rex as my sidearm is nice to a degree. I would really prefer the M9 or something like that. Alright, so we're now pushing into C. I don't want to get hit by that grenade. So I let my teammates absorb the hail of bullets that's coming. There we go. A lot of bad habits I picked up from Call of Duty, I'll be honest. Not aiming down sights when firing a shotgun, definitely a Call of Duty thing that I picked up on in Black Ops 2, and I just never broke myself of it. I didn't really touch a lot of shotguns in Battlefield 3, and I don't know if that was really to my detriment or not. I really just love using LMGs in Battlefield 3. I still love using LMGs a lot in Battlefield 4. If you look at my top 2 kills, or killed with weapons, those are going to be the PKP, Pechneg, and the AWS. So, yeah, my desire to use a bunch of long belt-fed weaponry is pretty high. Not belt-fed, box magazine-fed. Look at that. That should have probably been an instant kill. This guy then revives half his team. These guys, by the way, had been mostly playing engineers with DMRs for most of the night, and I honestly think their backup weapons were almost entirely going to be stingers. So, yep, switch to flechettes here. This is kind of where I turn it on and just start getting real. You can see most of my team is actually moving out here now. We're coming back from A and B for the most part. I'm going to tell us to watch out for C, and we're going to try to make a push here. Goodbye. And right there, I was kind of behind a wall. Now, people have pointed out that with the high frequency update, the patch, as it were, there are still kill trades, there are still kills when you're behind cover, and so on. But I was getting quite a bit of that, actually. Man, that guy must have been very impressed by that kill. I nailed him full speed running. And I actually had a couple of those earlier in the game where I got killed, say, behind a rock when I was getting sniped at. And I can really attribute that more to the really crappy ping and update rate of the people I was getting shot by, rather than anything on my end, because I actually did play a couple more rounds after this by myself, and pretty much every match I played felt really, really good, really tight, much tighter than before, and I was really happy with how everything turned out. Really, really, really. So my guess is that the other people on the server, aka the enemy team, were kind of the issue here, and not simply my having a bad internet connection or something like that. I've always been fairly stable with Battlefield. I was very lucky in that regard. What was weird, I had a different modem for a long time, and that modem would actually disconnect every now and again while playing Battlefield 3. Right there, I have no idea how I didn't get any of those hits. That guy was basically right in my sights when I was shooting at him there. But yeah, Battlefield 4 has not forcibly disconnected my modem yet, so I'm feeling pretty good. We can see these two guys coming on the outside, and one of my guys' teammates spawned out there. I try to set a pretty smart trap, I think, for this guy, but watch what happens here. Just hit him. Just tapped him. And then his friend shows up. And it might have just been me, but I didn't really see the muzzle flash until I was already falling over there. So there are some things like that that do need to be looked at, but like I said, that mostly seems to be a side effect of the update rate that these guys had in their pings, rather than anything the game was specifically doing to me, which was kind of what people were complaining about before. And right here, I get kind of fucked. I wanted to help the team out. What was really interesting about a lot of these guys on the other team was that they were using silencers, and you hardly ever see that in Battlefield 4. And I don't mean just on this map, which is actually a pretty good map for silencers. Silencers do cause more bullet drop and everything else. They're not really great attachments overall, but these guys were using silencers, or a lot of the players on the other team were using silencers on almost every map. And of course, on the DMRs, those guys were not using silencers. It was kind of okay. But on a lot of the other weapons they were using, it was just constant silencer action constantly. So I actually leave my squad mate here to take that point. I'm going to run over to B and try to see if we can't help with that. I do get a couple good moments up ahead in this area. B is kind of a bit of a hot spot for most of the match because these guys are constantly pushing from A into B. We usually do have B, and we hopefully have C for the most part. What we end up fighting over is just trying to push into the D area. I do not understand that. I didn't know the QBS was an automatic, as a matter of fact. Even if it's a semi-auto, I didn't know it fired that fast if it did, but he'll do that a couple more times to me, so I might want to check out the QBS someday, I guess. But yeah, the sort of pieces in this match are pretty set here, and we're not really going to be moving much beyond this. It's going to be a constant fight for us to hold on to at least 3 points, and sort of once we get that locked down, we're okay. But they're always going to be at A. Like I said, they have a spawn beacon inside a wall that we just couldn't see, and they're going to be able to rally in force on all these points. Now, the interesting thing about this match is this is the exact kind of match that I actually kind of like. Not in terms of playing, and playing it can be very frustrating because you'll see several points in this map where I will shoot a man in the back and or like kill 2 or 3 guys on a point, and the next thing I know, I've got 3 or 4 of these guys, none of whom I just killed, spawning nearby or killing me or something like that. It's a very frustrating experience in that regard. However, if you want to talk about what makes really interesting video to watch later on, these are the kinds of matches you want. You don't really want to watch a slaughter between where one team just drives the other team back into the spawn, which is what a lot of goon games end up being. What you'd rather watch, I think, and this is just my opinion, is a pretty tight and close game where everyone's got a pretty good role to go play and everything works out. You know, if we lose a close match, I don't feel as bad as if we lost a very lopsided match. So I feel like we're making the effort to try to win this for ourselves, and you know, working as a team and everything like that. That's really required to make this all function correctly. But at the same time, man, I would have liked if this didn't last 35 minutes because it was a very frustrating experience, as you'll see with kill trades and shots that just don't hit and so on and so on. The things that I've basically been complaining about with the netcode stuff. The magic word, netcode. Basically anything to do with the network connection side of things. Anything to do with that just drives me absolutely nuts, and especially when you're playing against people with 175 fucking ping. So it's difficult to always gauge that. By the way, the Rex, if you have not used it or you don't play Battlefield 4 but you're watching this for whatever reason, the Rex has a firing delay, so you have to be pretty smart about that. Just know that you have to anticipate a bit of a delay when you fire. Where did he come from? Just got gunned down in the back there. None of my... Ah, there we are. I knew I got revived there. I was going to say none of my teammates are medics. It's very weird. This was actually several days ago. I remember a lot of this. Just exactly how it worked out and where things are going to go. It's one of those bizarre things, I guess. But it was a memorable match. I mean, this is, like I said, you're fighting for a lot of stuff. We've got a 100 ticket lead here. We're going to win by about double that amount. Spoiler alerts, we win, but at the same time, it's about the closest match we had with these guys all night. The only other one that got really close was this capture the flag match, where they were, like I said before, and I actually made a reference to this thing, they were basically in our spawn, and at the end of the game we honestly thought they were going to grab our flag and run it back. But we were able to keep them from doing anything with it because they were in our spawn trying to run on one of the larger, more open maps back to their base, and we had a bunch of people in our spawn idling.
Just been neutralized.
These guys love their tugs. They like to hang out in fucking little corners. Oh man, it's kind of bad. I actually pick up on one of their strategies a little later on in the video, and I really appreciate doing that because it led to a really funny moment where I'm just like telling people, watch the kill feed, watch the kill feed, these guys are idiots, and just scoring some really good kills for a few minutes. It's not quite yet, but it is in this area, and probably after that I will be signing off on my end of things. So yeah, that's kind of what I expect to see every single time I go anywhere on this map at this point. Just a group of these guys, a gaggle, if you will. They're just there. But you look at E, and then they're on A still. They're going to B. Where are they even getting these people from? Now you're probably seeing the laser pointer on my shotgun and noticing that I'm turning that off a lot. I don't want to get caught. Simple as that. Yep, I don't know. That man survived some bullshit right there. Usually if you aim down sights with the shotgun, the spread stays pretty tight, and you shouldn't really have to worry too much about it. But in that situation, it looks like the spread was a little bit looser than I anticipated, and I just wasn't hitting enough pellets to kill anyone. So, that's oh well right there. If you also look in the top right corner, you're going to notice, besides that shotgun that I've been killed with a couple times, the only other shotgun you're really going to see is the 870, which I'm carrying at the moment. It's a really good shotgun, especially for this map. There's a really good reason behind that. It's just a very good shotgun. Of course, Invade France now, using his FAMAS and SPAS 12 for Chrono Jam. Chrono has actually been singing the praises, here we go, this is great, of the SPAS 12 for a little while, but I think he's trying to get a bunch of kills with everything. This is where they get stupid. I figured out kind of what their pattern was. They don't go through that door right there, the pump room door. They come over around this corner, and I figured, hey, they're dumb enough, they'll just keep running at me if I just stay hidden enough. So, yeah, move. They're using they're very clearly using their mini-map to figure out exactly where I was. That guy basically blind fired around that corner. The fact that I didn't die is really impressive. Of course, I'm still on this point, they're still able to spawn on it, and look how that turned out for me. So what they're basically doing here, and this is kind of where I'm going to quit talking, is they're spawning over near A, coming over to B, and just spawning on each other, spawning in groups and everything like that. And, I mean, nothing wrong with that. That's exactly how you're supposed to play the game and work as a team. Just very difficult to fight against it, even if our team is working and talking and everything to that degree. We still have to overcome what they're throwing at us. But you can see we actually went and backcapped them. As they take our first 2 points, we take C, D, and E, and those are not our starter points. So, hey, I can't complain. That's always a fun thing to do. And right there, right behind the wall, that kind of sucked. Alright, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the video. There's quite a bit of intense fighting to go, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Objective Alpha has been neutralized. Objective Alpha is now ours. Objective Bravo is under our control.
Attack this objective!
Objective Charlie's been neutralized.
Spotted an enemy.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
Objective Alpha has been lost.
Attack this objective! objective. I need you to attack this objective.
Objective Bravo. Enemy machine gunner has been ID'd just west of your boss.
Hey, grab those rounds!
Objective Bravo is now in our control.
Enemy! I'm gonna whack that fool!
Objective Charlie now neutralized.
I need you to defend this objective.
Objective Bravo has been lost.
Fire in the hole!
Neutralized Objective Alpha. Confirm. Objective Bravo is neutralized. We've taken Objective Bravo.
Got you fixed up!
Throwing grenade!